Hi everybody, welcome back on Lit Up with Annie. In this session, we will be talking about semiotics in structuralism. What is semiotics? Semiotics is basically the study of sign. Any sign and for example words, sign could be anything, words, gestures, visuals, audio, anything that generates meaning in your mind. You remember we talked about signifier and signified. So any kind of sound, any kind of word that I'm speaking, whatever I'm speaking, I hope that it is generating meaning in your head. So that is also a sign. To study those signs, the study is called semiotics. Let's take an example of a traffic signal. When you're driving and you reach a traffic signal, you see that the light is green. What do you understand by that? You understand that, okay, I'm good to go. I don't have to stop. The green signal generates that meaning in your head. So that is a sign, the sign itself. The entire thing, the entire traffic signal is the sign. Okay. What about the origin of semiotics? Origin of semiotics, we have two origins basically. There are two accepted origins. The first one we've already covered actually. We talked about saussure and we talked about signifier and signified. What is that? That is semiotics. And the other origin is by an American philosopher, C.S. Peirce. It is spelled as P-I-E-R-C-E, Peirce, but it is pronounced as Peirce. C.S. Peirce basically also gave a similar kind of a structure of signifier and signified, just the names were different, and we'll talk about those names. So these are the two accepted origins. First one is from Saussurian linguistics. Saussure, the difference is that Saussure used the term semiology. Instead of semiotics, Saussure used the term semiology to describe the study of signs. On the other hand, C.S. Peirce, he was a philosopher, a logician also, he preferred the term semiotics. And out of the two terms, semiotics became more popular with everybody. Therefore, semiotics is the term which is used. The term semiotics is highly used today, unlike semiology. And semiotics is not just used in linguistics, but it is used by various fields, the students of various fields, for example, media studies, film studies, cultural studies, because you will find signs everywhere, different kinds of signs you will find. Now, what does semiotics actually do? Yes, it studies the signs, but how? Semiotics actually provide us with some tools which are required to analyze a form of a text and to read texts as a part of general social systems of science, where meanings are generated, accepted and subverted as a part of a cultural process. This is what semiotics does. हमें टूल्स प्रोवाइड करता है ताकि हम एक टेक्स्ट को एक किसी फॉर्म, टेक्स्ट के किसी भी फॉर्म को एनालाइज कर सकें, उसको पढ़ सकें, एक जनरल सोशल सिस्टम में रख के, एक जनरल सोशल सिस्टम है साइंस का, उसके अंदर हम उसको रख के उसको पढ़ सकें, उसको एनालाइज कर सकें, जहाँ पे मीनिंग्स जनरेट होते हैं, कुछ मीनिंग्स एक्सेप्टेड हैं, कुछ मीनिंग्स सबवर्टेड हैं एज अ पार्ट ऑफ अ कल्चरल प्रोसेस. दैट्स व्हाट सेमियोटिक्स डू. हाउ डू वी एनालाइज अ टेक्स्ट? Structuralists with the help of semiotics basically. Let's talk about C.S. Peirce. We've already talked about Saussure. Charles Sanders Peirce, often spelled as Peirce but pronounced as Peirce. He was an American philosopher, a logician and a scientist who made significant contribution to the field of semiotics. He is considered one of the founders of both pragmatism and semiotics, along with his contemporaries Ferdinand de Saussure and also John Dewey. Now we talk about the concepts that C.S. Peirce gave us. The first important concept is the Triadic Model of science. See, Saussure also gave a model of science, but it was a dyadic model. Signifier and signified, two things. C.S. Peirce gave us Triadic Model. Representer men, interpretant, object. These are the three things in the Triadic Model. First one, representer men. Representer men is actually equal to signifier. I hope you remember what a signifier is. representamen भी वही होता है, बस नाम अलग है. The sign is the first component and is the physical form that represents something. It can be a word, an image, a gesture or any other object that conveys meaning. Signifier कुछ भी हो सकता है, कोई एक word, कोई sound, कोई gesture जिससे आप अपने दिमाग में meaning generate करो, वो होता है representamen. Object is basically what you are referring to. Let's take an example, okay? Let's take an example of a restaurant. You go to a restaurant and you see a signboard on the door of the restaurant. It says open. What is representamen in this scenario? Representamen is this sign, this word open that is written on a board. ठीक है? That's a signifier. आपको एक signifier मिला, आपने कुछ meaning generate किया, you generated some meaning in your head. What did you think? Okay, the restaurant is open and I can go in and eat my food. This meaning that you generated in your head, what is this? This is interpretant or signified. But in this entire scenario, what is the object? What is being referred to? इस पूरे सिनेरियो में वी आर रेफरिंग टू द रेस्टोरेंट एंड दैट इज वाई द रेस्टोरेंट इज द ऑब्जेक्ट इन दिस सिनेरियो. यू कैन टेक अदर एग्जाम्पल्स ऑल्सो. लेट्स टेक अगेन द एग्जाम्पल ऑफ, let's just read the interpretant and then we'll take the example. First, object. The object is the second component and refers to the thing or idea that the sign represents. It is in the real world referent. तो object को referent भी बोलते हैं, or the conceptual entity to which the sign points. And interpretant is the third component and represents the understanding or mental concept that the sign creates in the mind of an interpreter. You are the interpreter. आपने sign board पढ़ा open, आपने interpret किया. So the concept that you generated in your head is interpretant. It is the meaning or the effect produced by the sign on the person who encounters it. Let's take the example of a traffic signal now. When you see the light is green, what is the representamen here? The light, the green light is the signifier or representamen. What is interpretant? The mental concept that you generated by seeing the green light, that you can go. That's the interpretant. And what is the object? The entire structure of the traffic signal is the object. So this is the triadic model of C.S. Peirce. Now there is a paradox here. Socio talks about signifier, signified. Peirce talked about the triadic model. But when we actually get the representamen and we generate meaning inside our head, isn't it actually another sign that is created? For example, you saw the green light and in the head, the meaning generated was go. Correct? अब go क्या है? Go is another sign through which you can create another meaning. If I ask you to describe to me the meaning of go, you will say, okay, go means to cross the light. I can ask you, okay, what is cross? And then you will again try and explain to me the meaning of crossing. You will say when you pass by it, and then I can again ask you, what do you understand by passing by? And the meaning is postponed, it is delayed. All you have are signifiers, signifiers, signifiers. That is the paradox, and we will build on this when we do post-structuralism. The sign generates another sign in our minds. Signifier generates another signifier. So we have unending semiosis. What is semiosis? This entire process that takes place, that you get a signifier, you try and understand the meaning of it, and you understand what is the object being referred to. ये पूरा जो एक प्रोसेस चल रहा है इसको सेमियोसिस कहते हैं. दिस इंटायर प्रोसेस इज कॉल्ड सेमियोसिस. बट वी keep on getting different signifiers in our head, and we have unending semiosis. The semiosis never ends because we don't reach the final meaning, and that is the paradox. Peirce further categorized signs into 3 types based on the relationship with their objects. Now you remember when we were doing Saussure, we talked about the arbitrary relationship between the word and the meaning. Why do we call a cat a cat? It's just because of the repeated usage. So there is no relationship between the word cat and the meaning that it generates. The relationship is arbitrary. But Peirce here talks about 3 kinds of relationships. The first one is symbolic. Symbolic is a relation wherein actually there is no real connection between the word and its meaning. The one that we already talked about, arbitrary relationship. For example, green light को देख के या red light को देख के you have to stop. It's because of the repeated usage and the rules that you know that by seeing the red light in the traffic signal you have to stop. There's no real connection between the red light and stopping, right? Second one is iconic. Now iconic, it says that there is some resemblance or some kind of a relationship between the signifier and the object that it represents. For example, let's say onomatopic words. When I say the word hiss, बाकी वर्ड्स की तरह जैसे if I say table doesn't really has any quality in it that is supposed to describe an actual table. But when I say hiss, it does have some resemblance with the real sound that is produced by the animal. That is why onomatopic words have this icon or iconic relationship. An icon is a sign that bears some resemblance or similarity to its object. Another example is a photograph of a person. कोई आप फोटो देख रहे हो तो फोटो को देख के obviously you will think about the person who's there in the photograph. So person एक photograph एक icon है of the person that it represents. The next one is indexical. There is a direct connection between the word or the sign and the object that it represents through some physical or causal relationship. For instance, smoke is an index of fire. अगर आपको smoke कहीं दिखाई दे रही है, आप बोलोगे कहीं आग लग गई है. Direct relationship है. Or let's take another example. If there is a knock on your door, you know that okay, there is somebody who is standing outside the door. So direct relationship hai. The sound of the knock, immediately the meaning that is generated in your head is okay, there is somebody outside. If you see smoke, the direct thing that comes to your mind is fire, like that. So these are the 3 types which are based how Peirce has categorized signs into 3 types based on their relationship with their objects. Symbolic, iconic, indexical. Alright, so that is semiotics. I hope you've understood. Semiotics, I'm just going to read out one important definition. Semiotics suggests that for users of language, signs stand in for or represent something. Signs are made of signifiers and signified, and the relation between the two can be number 1 arbitrary, number 2 imitative, or number 3 directly connected, right? Symbolic, arbitrary, iconic, imitative, onomatopic words, there is an imitation, and number 3 directly connected, indexical. The process of interaction between the word, the object referred to, and the idea or sign that is generated in our mind is called semiosis. So this is it for semiotics. If you've understood, very good. If any doubts, you can ask me, and I will see you in the next session. If you liked the video, please hit the like button, share it with your friends, and please subscribe to my channel to get updates of the next lessons that we come up with. Thank you. See you around.